Liverpool have finally lifted their first Premier League title, and a lot of the credit has not only got to go down to the players on the pitch, but the manager behind them. Over the next few minutes, we'll be taking a look at how Jurgen Klopp has brought Liverpool their first Premier League title and their first English top division title in 30 years. Time short, no time for relaxing. Be the first in, last out, make it happen. So first off, let's look at the squad and basically how Jurgen Klopp went through a massive overhaul, because at the start, he really did not have that many good players. In fact, let's take a quick look at the first lineup from his first game in charge. In goal, there was Simon Mignolet. The defence was Nathaniel Klein, Skirtle, Sacco, Moreno. Chan, Lever and Coutinho made up the midfield with Milner, Lallana and Origi in attack. Now, this really isn't anything like the Liverpool you can see today, and that's a lot down to Klopp and the club for actually backing him in the first place. He identified the areas in which they needed to improve, and not only did he spend the money, but he also made the money back as well. Let's not beat around the bush here. Liverpool have spent money. They haven't spent it in the same way that maybe Chelsea or Manchester City have, but they've spent a lot. In fact, hundreds of millions. The thing that's different with Liverpool is that they also made quite a lot as well. Put it this way, there's pretty much a direct correlation between Coutinho being sold to Barcelona and that money being spent on Alisson and Van Dijk, arguably the best goalkeeper in the world and pretty much definitely the best centre-back in the world. That is one hell of an upgrade. So assembling the right players in the right position means that he brought in the goalkeeper in Alisson, who was comfortable on the ball and a fantastic goalkeeper as well. It meant that there were defenders who could keep a high line and were quick enough to come back, with fullbacks who are phenomenal at providing assists. The other thing about Liverpool as well, and the way Klopp set up with his team, is that the midfield were incredibly energetic, but individually not necessarily the greatest players that you're going to find. There is an argument for Jordan Henderson to be one of the best Liverpool midfielders in recent years, but with the likes of Gini Wijnaldum and Fabinho, the guys who start more often than not for Liverpool in their midfield three, really man for man get into any team of Manchester City's, Bayern's, Barcelona's, Real Madrid's, it's quite a tough call. But then again, it actually pays even more homage to the fact that Klopp managed to get these guys together in a team working well and completely and utterly dominating the Premier League. Obviously, once you move into the forward section, they work well as a three, but the individual brilliance as well of Roberto Firmino, Sadio Mane and Mo Salah is something definitely not to be scoffed at. In fact, they've been the best front three probably in Europe over the last 2 seasons or so. And it's those front three that really kind of set off the basis of everything good that Liverpool do. When Liverpool are defending and they get the ball quickly, the counter-attack is on. They've got excellent midfield passers who can find the lightning quick forwards, and when they don't have the ball, these fit, energetic forwards are there to provide the Gegenpress, which basically sums up Klopp's philosophy. They just smother the opponents into giving away the ball and then attack at lightning speed, with Roberto Firmino a very rare player. He's the kind of striker that doesn't really get the recognition for his goals, so he doesn't score all too many, but he fits this Liverpool team so perfectly and in return provides the brilliant balance between the midfield and the attack. So with that said and done, let's take a look at the tactics that Klopp has employed to put this fantastic team together, starting from the back. So let's take you through a typical Liverpool attack. They press the opposition really well. They push up high and they often force a long ball or the opposition to lose the ball. When they do play it long, Joe Gomez more often than not is the one to attack the ball. That's because Virgil van Dijk can afford to sit 20 or even 30 yards deeper, knowing that A, if Gomez loses the ball, he's going to be able to pick up on it, and B, if the opposition striker wins a header and then Pepe, let's say for example, because he's the one who beat Van Dijk, is in a one-on-one, it's actually very rare that anyone gets past him. I mentioned Nicola Pepe because he dribbled past Van Dijk earlier in the season and it was absolute headline news. When it's anyone else, Van Dijk just does not lose the one-on-ones. Of course, this is a very specific tactic because no other club in the world has Van Dijk, but it just works. Gomez has really come on leaps and bounds since playing alongside the Dutchman, and as we mentioned before, when, it's kind of rarely, he fails to win the ball, Van Dijk just sweeps up like you've never seen. So that's Liverpool in possession of the ball. Van Dijk is calm at the back, so is Alisson and so is Joe Gomez, and this is where things get really interesting. The ball doesn't necessarily always go directly out wide to the fullbacks. In fact, they come into the play a lot higher up on the pitch. Normally, you'll find the likes of Jordan Henderson or Fabinho picking up the ball because of, Fabinho especially, some fantastic passing ability out wide. When Liverpool have got the ball, the wingers, well, I say they're wingers, they're fullbacks, they play as wingers, push really high. This allows them to be an absolute threat with their brilliant crossing from deep and really gives the rest of the Liverpool team a bit of a switch. So when they're playing deep, the fullbacks are out wide, Roberto Firmino works his magic. This is where he drops into a centre which no defender really wants to pick up. If the centre-backs were to follow him out, which they sometimes try to do, there is plenty of space in behind for Mane and Salah to use their pace and exploit the room. The reason they've got so much room and they're pushed inside is because, as I mentioned before, the fullbacks are also very, very high. The fact is they move it around so there's 2 centre-backs, 3 central midfielders, then Firmino, then the 2 forwards, and out wide, Trent and Robertson are just so good. It's no wonder that Trent Alexander-Arnold's got over 25 assists in the last 2 seasons combined in the Premier League. The reason this works so well as well and what Firmino does so excellently is he basically comes back to link up the play but also can arrive late as well an attacking midfielder. This allows the midfield 3 to stay in position. Not only are they in the middle of the park to stop any counter-attacks, but also if one of the wingers is caught out wide, they can go and cover. Let's say it happens on the right-hand side. Mo Salah's down the right, he loses the ball and Trent Alexander-Arnold's also up high as well. Jordan Henderson can just cover, knowing that in the centre of midfield, Fabinho and Wijnaldum will still be there. This is the kind of thing that you just don't get when you've got a double pivot. One of them is left outside, and then you've only got one central defensive midfielder left to cover a potential counter-attack. The evidence behind this is that the 6 main players who start in midfield for Liverpool, so that's Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Henderson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Lallana and Naby Keita, between them have 20 goals in the last 2 seasons. That's absolutely nothing. I mean, Coutinho had 20 by himself in the season and a half before he left for Barcelona, and those are the kind of numbers that the likes of Mane and Salah do in probably 3/4 of a season. It just shows you that Liverpool aren't really based off their midfield running late into the box. It's definitely more of a case that the space is created and then exploited by the unbelievable pace of both wingers. You'll find that when either Salah or Mane is out of the squad, Shaqiri and Origi who come in just don't quite attack that space in the same way that their wingers do, and Liverpool's game plan changes ever so slightly. I mean, the one stat you have to look at as to why this works so well is the fact that the front 3 in the last 2 seasons have over 150 Premier League goals between them. So finally we come to, well, we've got the squad, you've got the tactics, but how does Klopp actually drill it into them? Well, he's just got an insane mentality. You can see it on the sideline with his passion, with the energy that he shows, and it definitely rubs off on the players. A few years ago, Kevin Prince Boateng was talking about his time at Dortmund, and Jürgen Klopp made him feel like he would run through a brick wall for him, and you can see it in all the Liverpool players. They give so much in every single game on the pitch, it looks like they're never going to lose. I mean, they've had a lot of late goals this season on their way to a Premier League title, but surely that's where the credit goes to Liverpool for pushing for the whole game. They're not just doing a 20-minute job and then sitting back. They are pushing for every single minute, every single ball. They do not give up. And another thing you've seen is they're pretty poor losers. This only comes from wanting to win so badly. I mean, the odd times that they have lost this season, especially in the Champions League to Atletico Madrid, you see Andy Robertson's interview afterwards, he was not happy, and I think that was echoed in the rest of the squad. Of course, they then went on to lose after that and things took a bit of a derailing, but I think it's really a credit to Klopp and Liverpool when you see their intensity and how they play in every single game, just to how much of an amazing job he has done. What Klopp does on the side really rubs off on the rest of the players on the pitch. With this team in place in a great age as well, and with Jurgen Klopp in a fantastic position at Liverpool, it seems highly unlikely that they won't be challenging for the title within the next few seasons. It may be a little too different in football these days to try and build a dynasty like Arsene Wenger or Sir Alex Ferguson did at rivals Arsenal, Manchester United, but certainly in the next few years, Jurgen Klopp has everything he needs at the club to go on and make Liverpool a real force, not just for one season, not for 2, but the next 4, 5 or 6 years. In fact, the way they're going, they can make quite a bit of money by selling a few more players and then bring in some world-class players on top of this. There have been some massive names linked with the club, and well, the way they're playing football, the coach they're playing under and the spirit around the team, it would take a very big player to turn down the kind of money Liverpool can offer and the kind of atmosphere and trophies that they've got on offer as well. With that said though, what do you guys think? Will Jurgen Klopp be able to keep this going, or are Liverpool just a bit of flash in the pan, and will they have to wait another 30 years or so before they bring home another English title? You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below about that and how well Jurgen Klopp has done at Liverpool. Of course, you can stick around and check out the rest of the stuff we've got going on Onefootball by clicking here or here as well. That's all from me though, and until next time, congratulations Liverpool, and I'll see you guys later. Time short.